Your host, Mr. Graven. Alright guys, so I have a new Dragonknight tank build. Actually, I've been using this for a while, testing it out, prepping it up, because there's, a lot of rumors that's surrounding the upcoming DLC Dragon Bone. And with these changes, whether or not they be true, I usually try to prep in accordance with that. So I have a new Dragonknight tank build for PvP. And this is called BBA, which stands for Big Bad Ass. And it's a really nice build. I was PvPing with it for a little while, and what can I say? It does its job. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so we'll go start off with the character sheet. Okay, sword and board side. You're going to go ahead and see my max magic is at 13,654. Magic recovery 758. Max health 37,196. Max stamina 2,800. Health recovery is a little low, 454. I'll get into why. Stamina recovery is at 1,785. Spell resistance prior to my shields and stuff, 21 and 20. Critical resistance 1,965. That's kind of low. I'll explain why. To the left, you'll see Magicka is at 4, health at 0, stamina at 60. We're using Twiceborn Star. Believe it or not, yes, Twiceborn Star. Why? Because we're going to be using the Lord, we're going to be using the Serpent, and we're going to be using Dubious Kimura Throne. Now, dual wield side, we're going to see a little bit of a difference here. So our max health drops. Max Magicka goes up slightly, 14. Stamina remains the same, and our resistance drops. Alright, but you'll see spell crit goes up a little bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the gears. Okay, so we're going to be using leeching. I love the leeching set. I'll be switching this also out for another setup. But I love leeching in giant PvP battles. Why? It's simple. The more damage I take, the more the leeching applies to the targets, right? So the leeching poison goes under them. Basically, it's dealing damage to them, and it's healing me 100% of that damage every second. I have an 8% chance, but I'm a tank. I'm going to keep taking damage. So the more damage I take, the more chance it has to proc. Simple. So leeching, where do you get it? You get it in, I want to say White Gold Tower. No. ICP. So you get it in ICP. Really great set. Love this set. Love it, love it, love it. So I got the Sword of Leeching. Sharpen. Ideal. Crusher enchant. Shield of Twiceborn Star. Sturdy. Max health. Ideal. Sword of Leeching. Glyphed Nirnhone. Shield. Hardening. Sword of Twiceborn Star, Sharpen, Increase, Ideal. I'm going to be using Swarm Mothers on this. Okay, so I block. This is not a perma-block build, but I block. So when I block damage, what Swarm Mothers is going to do, it's going to give me recovery, and it's going to, if they're further than 5 meters, they're going to suck them right into me. This can happen every second. Really powerful, because I can suck in a large amount of people. That's what I want to do. I want to bring them into me. And bring them in. That's what I want to do. Suck them right in. Curse of Twiceborn Star. Infused. Max stamina. Ideal. Shoulders. Swarm Mothers. Epilot. Sturdy. This one's light. This one's heavy. Okay, that's ideal. Girdle of Twiceborn Star. Sturdy. Heavy. Ideal. Medium. Bracers of Twiceborn Star. So I'm running 2 medium, 5 heavy. You can go with 1 light if you want. That's fine. I just want, the extra stamina. So, Greaves of Twiceborn Star Infused Max Magicka. Ideal. Sabotage Leeching Impen. Max stamina. Ideal. Then we have our leeching set. 2 stamina, 1 Magicka. Alright, so let's get into the skills here, shall we? Primary bar is going to be our sword and board side. Okay, so I told you, I'm going to draw them into me, right? Suck them right in. As soon as I do, I'm going to go ahead and use the choking talons. If I get more than one person, I always apply the choking talons, even if they break, right? Why? Because it applies the minor maim. It reduces that damage by 15% for 7 seconds. That's a big, big boost to this build. So I want to go ahead, suck him in, talon him, reduce the damage. Okay, I'm going to use the Pierce Armor for single target applications. Why? It's going to give the Major Fracture, Major Breach, helping my party members get them down and out faster. Bread and butter of the build, Spike Bone Shield. So I use Spike Bone Shield. I draw them into me. I choke it down. The first thing they're going to want to do is smack the shit out of me. I hope they do. Because what they're doing is killing themselves, essentially. Because the leeching's under them. They're rooted. Poison's under them. The more they damage me, Spike Bone Shield goes ahead, absorbs 16% of my max health, returns 36% of the damage back to melee attackers. Really, really nice. But not everybody's melee, right? So they have range. So I'm going to use Absorb Magic. Absorb Magic's what's going to my counterplay against spellcasters. Why? Because I just cast it. Absorbs 10,136 damage from next spell projectile cast at me and healing me 16% of my max health. Okay, Structured Entropy, big one. Needs to be on this bar. The reason I have Structured Entropy is simple. Increases my max health by 6%. That's a real big boon to this. That'll go a little bit higher once it scales, but also that goes with the Spike Bone Shield. Shield Wall, I'll be getting this morphed, but definitely the ultimate on the shield side. Okay, back bar. If people are running away, I go ahead, use the Unrelenting Grip, pull them to me. And then I go ahead, once I'm pulled, talon them. Simple. Also, shield, Igneous Shield. It's going to give me the Major Mending, and it's also going to give me a shield that absorbs 1,865 to my entire party. Gives me 200% more than that value. Draw Essence. This is the big one. So I pull in a lot of people, right? Large Zergs come flying towards me. I need a way to survive and recoup my Magicka. I have a very low amount of Magicka on this build, so I use the Draw Essence, right? So I draw them in. Basically, it's going to deal 1,098 magic damage to nearby enemies, healing me for 177% of the damage caused. After 2.5 seconds, I exhale, dealing 2,623 flame damage to nearby enemies and restoring 10% of the ability's magic cost for each enemy hit. So that's why I talon them, draw them, poof, boom. Get the Magicka, keep applying the effects. Hardening Armor, goes without saying. It's going to give me the Major Ward and Major Resolve. And also, while activated, the armor returns 643 magic damage to melee attackers. Once again, they're killing themselves. I got this up. I got Bone Shield up. I'm using the Leeching. The more they hit me, the more it applies the effects. Okay, I'm going to use the Inner Light on this bar. Simple. Apply the Max Magicka, and it gives me a way to, detect stealthers for the Inner Light. Also, Standard of Might. So you can go with the shifting standard if you want. The reason I like this, it applies the Major Defile. So once again, I have this debuff, Minor Maim, and if I'm in I get a large group, I hit them with the Major Defile debuff. Just the support build. So I really, really like this build. It works out really nice. Can't complain about it. So let's also go over it's kind of interesting. So let's go ahead and get into the champion points, shall we? Warlord, reduce the cost to break free by 904. I'm an orc, so I do get that nice sprint passive, but I want to reduce the cost of sprinting by 13.22. Coming over to the thief, I have tenacity at 4.2, Arcanus at 909, Mooncalf at 1301, healthy, I just have 2 points left to put 206. And I reduce the block cost by 2208. Coming over to the Mage, I have 27 in a Bless. Remember, I'm using Draw Essence, so I'm essentially healing myself. I want to take advantage of that. Elemental Expert, 5.22. Spell Erosion, 2,909. Big one here is to get 30 points for your Reposit. So you're also, when you block a melee attack, you have a 15% chance to deal physical damage to the enemy. This can happen every 5 seconds. Once again, I want them to kill themselves. That's what this build's designed to do. That's pretty much it. 31 points into it. Thaumaturge, 611. Piercing, 4,012. Mighty 1208. Coming over to the steed, Ironclad 1208. Resistance 1467. Hardy is at 909. I have enough spell resistance, so I'm just going to go ahead and put 0 into that, but I want to put some in thick skin for 611. Bastion using shields 904. Quick recovery 909. Heavy armor focus 2542. And that is how the champion points are allocated. Works out really good. This build you're not going to have too many problems with. The only class that's going to give you a little bit of problems is the Nightblade, because the Nightblade can fear you out of blocks, right? And it can also debuff tanks. So just a heads up. But if you get on top of a Nightblade, you pressure him, he fumbles up, you're pretty good to go. But if you get a really good Nightblade who knows what he's doing in a party, it can screw things up for you. But yeah, pretty much just the way it goes. Now, you're not invincible with this build. It's not designed to do that. It's offered to support, you know, the push, right? To defend. And if you get a healer behind you, it's just even that much better. Works out really good. Sucks people in. You get to push out. Really works out good. Also, keep in mind 2 optional skills for a switch out is the Pierce Armor and the Unrelenting Grip. Why? Because you can put guard here. You'll need guard on both sides. So if you have a pocket healer, switch out these 2 and put guard there. That's pretty much about it. So really like this build. I'm really happy with it. Works out great. Like I said, it's not a perma block build, and you know, it's not intended to be. It's like a debuff build, and basically to shake them up, break them up. If they deal damage at range, you're sucking them in, you're rooting them, you're debuffing them. Works out great. Love this build. Get into the keeps, you're pushing the party. It works out nice. I really like this tank build. So, yep, big badass. Works out nice, guys, I'm telling you. So, I'm Mystic Raven, this CSO Daily. I want to thank you for watching, and once again and always, have a nice day.